Looking for a summer camp that will nurture and challenge your students? If so, you need to check out the AD Players Theater Camp. Students will develop acting, script writing, and design skills through a game-based approach focused on creative expression, all while working on an end-of-camp showcase. Campers will thrive in a positive and encouraging environment centered on Christian values. The George Theater is proudly partnering with 3 locations across the city, and each camp is 1 week long, June 9th through August 1st. Space is limited, so sign up today, and scholarships are available. Learn more at adplayers.org/summercamps. The Texas coast is special to me, and my family has made countless memories there. This spring, it's time for you to do the same in Port Aransas. It's a place where family traditions naturally unfold, and you'll find beauty in the island views while taking time to relax between adventures. Just one visit, and you'll see why generations of Texans have anchored their traditions to the island life. Start your new favorite family tradition in Port Aransas, Texas. Plan your visit to Houston's beach at visitportaransas.com. Today on CityCast Houston, over 200,000 Muslims call Greater Houston home, making us the biggest Islamic community in Texas. And now we're celebrating the holy month of Ramadan with incredible halal food. I'm joined by popular halal food blogger Nida Ashraf to share her top spots that we can all enjoy around H-Town. It's Wednesday, March 5th. I'm Rahil Ramzanali, and here's what Houston's talking about. Nida, before we get started, I think we need to describe what exactly is halal food for our listeners that don't know.
So halal food is basically kind of a way that the meat is slaughtered per se. So it's more ethical the way they take the animal, make sure that it doesn't see the blade while it's being cut, say a blessing over it, and then go ahead and cut the vein in the neck so they don't feel that much pain. So just more of a way to honor the animal that we are eating, but also having a more purified way of slaughtering it. I've heard from a lot of people that halal meat is actually more delicious than regular meat. Now, this is all my Muslim friends that have told me that they have ate it. So, I can't compare, but I'm going to say it might just be something you need to try.
Yeah, for sure. When I tell people about halal food, it immediately sparks this thought of like, oh, it's healthier, right? And
Yeah.
That's not necessarily the case. Like, the halal is just the way it is slaughtered, as you mentioned. The food can be anything. Like, how you use that meat is totally up to you. And, let's be honest, there's a lot of unhealthy desi food, which is South Asian food that we're going to talk about in a second. But it has really become one of the cool things of the city of Houston, where the halal food scene is by far the best in the nation, right? You look at all the offerings we have. And here's why I say this. When we would fast during Ramadan growing up, we would all end up at these same Houston restaurants. Like, there was like 3, it felt like. And now it's so spread out, and there's so many different offerings that right now, when people are breaking their fast around the city of Houston, you go to many different halal restaurants.
So I moved to Houston in 2016, and I only had one spot I would go to. It's called China King in Sugarland. And I was like,
Yes, I
whoa,
remember
this
that.
is so cool. Like, they have a halal Chinese spot, right? But that was the only thing I had back then. And now, all these, almost 10 years later, we have such a diverse offering of halal food. And it doesn't even have to be just the basic Chinese or the basic Pakistani food that, we have a big popular Desi community here. It's just, I think, a variety of things, maybe a little too variety of hot chicken. Nashville chicken just kind of took over
gosh, yes.
the plague, right? But we love it. We love it. We love that there's every corner
I like it still. It's still
that you
good.
can go to eat it. So definitely I agree with you there too. It's just grown so much. And to see Houston be one of the places that it's booming in it's a beautiful and amazing thing.
Yeah, it really is a beautiful thing. And you run one of the more popular halal food accounts on Instagram, Nida Eats Halal. So you are the expert for me. I'm going to get your 5 best restaurants or spots to try for halal food. I'm going to throw in some as well, but since you're the expert, you kick it off. Give me your first one.
My first one has to be Kasra Persian Grill. They do have two locations. My favorite location is their OG Westheimer location that I've gone to ever since I moved here. They just renovated the whole location as well, so very updated. Um, but yeah, that's going to be my top pick.
Yeah, Kasra is the OG Persian grill. When you
Yeah.
go there, I highly recommend ordering the beef kubede. That is my go-to. I know some people like the chicken kubede as well, but that beef one just hits. Their hummus is so good. And at these Persian kebab houses, the best part is the bread. Like you get unlimited bread, okay? So you can really fill up, if you are breaking your fast or if you're just there to enjoy a meal,
Yeah.
you can't get enough of that bread.
Yeah, no, definitely. I went to actually the first time I had kasra was I went to open my fast there. And, right as soon as we opened the fast, we were over there eating all the hummus. And their hummus is one of the best hummus in town. I always tell people this, but I am biased because it has a garlicky taste and I love garlic.
Yeah.
You mentioned the beef kubede. I am a sucker for the chicken one. Though
Ah,
I
okay.
have had the beef one and I do enjoy it, I was going to say the chicken kubede with some rice, and then you have to add some cranberries on top. It is an add-on, but the
Yeah.
cranberry rice on the side, just definitely one of my favorite things that I can eat all year round.
You can't go wrong with it. My wife is a chicken kubede person, so I get it. It's totally fine. I'll eat both. I'll just be honest. I'm eating both, but I like the beef
Yeah.
kubede. There's so many good Persian kebab houses. Raza's is another great one
Yes.
that comes to mind. I've recommended that one before. I actually recommended it on a episode where we did cheap dates. And like this food is not that expensive. That's the
No, it's
best
not.
part. You can go
Yeah.
there and get a great meal for under $20 sometimes. Okay, what is your next spot?
Okay, my next spot is going to be Aga's Restaurant, located on Willcrest.
You have to put the OG.
I mean, I have to. I have to. Aga's has gone a long way. Like I went to Aga's in 2013 and they were just one room with circular tables, dim lighting, just giving you delicious food, but very underrated. And it's come such a long way. And my favorite thing about Aga's is that it's always consistent. Consistency is
Hmm.
something I look forward to when I go to a Pakistani restaurant. A lot of them are mom and pop shops, so sometimes the food doesn't taste the same each time you go. But Agas is always here to give you what you want.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up because growing up, Savoy was one of the first South Asian restaurants here in the city of Houston.
Yeah,
And I remember going to those restaurants, and every time we left, my parents would always say, "Oh, the food was good this time." And it's like you just never know. But with Aga's, you never say that. Aga's, you just go, "Oh, it was great." Like there is no this time. It is always consistent. Shoukat Maradia, who owns Aga's and
yeah,
is one of the main operators, has joined us on the podcast. And he talked to us about how they will serve up to 3,000 people during the weekends.
I
Okay,
believe
think
it.
about that. That is unbelievable. And
Yeah,
it's always consistent. And Aga's is right there off of 59. You make that Murphy Road exit and you make a right, it's right there. And then Savoy is actually on the opposite side. You go left and you go to Willcrest, and that's where Savoy is. So it's like almost the hub of Pakistani Indian food. But Aga's is such a great recommendation. What do you recommend that people order?
so that was one thing I had to ponder over last night because I was like, well, I ordered everything off the menu when I go. One thing I think is a very big staple is going to be the chicken biryani. I think you can't go wrong with chicken biryani. For your appetizer, I would say go for chicken lollipops. I love those. Something different. And then my
Hmm.
third kind of gravy dish that I go for is the beef nahari with some garlic naan. I mean, that's going
Oh,
to give you a little
perfect.
bit of everything, right?
I love that one. And I'm going to give you three totally different
Yeah,
recommendations.
no, go for it.
You start with the goat chops,
Yeah.
okay? Start that as your appetizer. That is their most popular dish. Then you go with the white chicken kebab karai. It is like spicy, creamy. There's
Yeah.
pieces of kebab in there. It is outstanding. It is just one of the best dishes. And then I go with the OG paneer makhni. It's a sweeter curry dish and it has paneer in it, which is more like a vegan option, right? It's like a cheese curd.
Yeah.
So that is great. And then just get plain naan. I know people love the garlic naan, but
Yeah,
plain naan
plain
is
naan.
that's where it's at.
That's where it's at.
Yeah.
I mean, the white karahi is really nice too. I love the white karahi. That's actually one of
Yeah.
the other ones that we offer. When I first tried it, me and my siblings said it tastes sort of like an Alfredo sauce because it
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
sort of a cream-based sauce. And it is a bit more of a milder, so it's not like that heat if you're just
Yeah.
not wanting to kind of have too much spice in your food. I think it is a great recommendation as well.
Okay, Nida, let's keep it moving and let's get your third recommendation. Although the first two, I feel like we're full already, but we're going to keep it moving.
So my third recommendation would be Q's Deli, located in Sugar Land, Texas. Q's just opened up a few years ago, and I feel like it's just won me over because as a little girl who loved sort of those deli slice stuff from Subway, I would look at it, but I'd get the tuna sandwich. It was just something that I was so happy to have. I love to go there and get one of the things that is called a muffalata. So it's just a
Hmm.
layer of different meats with sort of a tapenade of olives and cauliflower and carrots on top. Muffaladas are very indigenous for when you go to New Orleans. You know, growing up, I used to see people eat those, and then having a halal version being offered, I was on board. Like, let me try this, and it became one of
Yeah.
my favorite things on the menu for
Yeah.
Q's Deli. But I also am a sucker for just a plain chicken pesto, and Q's Deli does it so good. I think it's been one of my Ramadan cravings to just have a pesto chicken sandwich right after I open my fast because I know I can't go wrong, you know?
Yeah, it's such a good deli, such a great place. Ali Qureshi, who runs and operates Q's Deli in Sugarland, he's talked about this before with me. He and his dad would run a deli, right? And
Yeah,
them being Muslims, they couldn't eat their own food because it wasn't halal.
exactly.
And that's the case for so many Muslims, right? When you think about Subway, you're thinking about Jason's Deli, all of these popular deli style
Yeah.
sandwiches, the food you can't eat except for that tuna, as you mentioned.
Yep.
And, it not being halal, he was like, well, why don't we have a halal deli? Why
Yeah.
can't we serve this great sandwich that everybody loves, but we can't eat? So he opened up Q's Deli, and it is so good. Q Stack, the burger. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Oh,
Yeah.
that is a great burger. But yeah, and he's doing beef, bacon, all the cuts that you traditionally see at a sandwich shop. He's doing it
Exactly.
halal and beef.
Yeah. No, definitely. And like I said, the muffalata has a bunch of different deli slice meats. So it's not just your conventional turkey that you think of when you think of a deli slice. It has a bunch of different layers to it. But again, you can't go wrong with anything on the menu. I've had literally almost everything, and I love it all.
I'll give you another tip. Follow Q's Deli on Instagram. I'm going to link that in our show notes because they're always doing these really cool iftar parties. And iftar is that meal that you break your fast with after the sun sets. They're doing these throughout the month of Ramadan. So check that out. And it's open to everyone. You don't have to be Muslim. So come celebrate with your Muslim brothers and sisters who live in your community. They do such a great job with these festivals.
They do. I've actually been to one last year and it was amazing.
Hmm.
There were different pop-up shops as well outside of his store. And so it was just nice to kind of get some chai, get a bit of dessert because they had kunafa and stuff as well. And so it was amazing.
Yeah, I love that place. Spring is approaching, and it's time to celebrate the blooming season in Bryan, Texas on April 26th at the Messina Hoff Wine and Roses Fest. This family-friendly festival is all about celebrating our iconic Texas spring with good wine and vines. There's going to be so much to do, like their grape stomp competition. It's a crowd favorite because you can stomp your heart out and compete against teams to become the champion of grape stomping. For those who want something more chill, you can sip on Texas rosé and learn about how it's made. And a great festival isn't complete without fantastic food, so check out the class on food and wine pairings where you can combine robust reds with smoked meats and tangy sauces. Plus, the Vintage House at Messina Hoff is featuring a barbecue buffet with wine pairings selected by the winemaker himself. Celebrate spring in Bryan, Texas at the Messina Hoff Wine and Roses Festival. Check out destinationbryan.com for more information. I love the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, but parking at the rodeo is a hassle. So here's a tip to make your trip there stress-free. All you need to do is make downtown Houston your starting point and jump on the Metro's Red Line, aka the Rodeo Rail. It's so much easier than driving around in traffic by NRG Stadium looking for that perfect parking spot. And make the experience even better by coming to downtown early and exploring what downtown Houston has to offer. From getting a bite at world-class restaurants to grabbing a drink at one of the many hotspots. While you're there, you'll find really helpful Texas-sized rodeo signs guiding you to the nearest light rail where you jump on the red line. And if that's not enough, there's even going to be pop-up rodeo performances along the rodeo rail featuring live music with the next generation of rodeo superstars. To learn more about getting to the rodeo from downtown, text Downtown Rodeo to 56512. That's Downtown Rodeo to 56512. Downtown Houston is H-Town's original neighborhood, and now it's your starting point for the rodeo. Downtown Houston, get energized and revived. All right, let's get your fourth recommendation.
Okay, my fourth recommendation is going to be I am a sucker for Chinese food, right? So, like, I'm going to go with Jade Lee in Sugar Land, Texas. Fun
Oh,
fact about Jade Lee, though, is they also own Lee's Kitchen that just opened up in Sugar Land. So, the one that I am talking about, Jade Lee, is on 90, but the one that they opened up that is new is, I think, on Highway 6. I have yet to visit it, but just a heads
okay.
up if anyone wants to go try the same type of food. My favorite thing on their menu is going to be some Kung Pao chicken. You can't go wrong with it. Again, something you don't get very often when it comes to halal food. And then I also do enjoy their lo mein and their fried rice. So just your very good, delicious, basic Chinese that you're looking for.
Okay, so this is just traditional Chinese that has halal meat serving at the restaurant. This isn't like a fusion Chinese, Indian Chinese restaurant. That is a big thing in the South Asian culture. So this is just traditional Chinese.
This is just traditional Chinese, just like the you go to a Chinese place and you want that traditional Chinese food. Very basic, just exactly Chinese. I will say that, like, as far as even though it's basic, the flavors are elevated. It's not like you go to a shop and you're eating all of it and you're feeling like these ingredients aren't maybe the best.
Yeah, that's a great point.
You
Yeah.
know what I
I didn't
mean?
mean to, degrade it by saying
Yeah,
basic. I'm just saying it's just
yeah.
Chinese food. Yeah.
No, 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 no. I didn't mean to say basic either, because when I
Yeah.
say basic as well, that's what I mean. But I don't mean basic in the sense of flavor palette. Your flavor palette is very good. It's very clean, very, you know what you're eating and you know the quality of food you're getting, and you'll feel it right when you take a bite, right? Every time I go,
Hmm.
their food is consistent. The vegetables are fresh. You know, they make it, you can tell they're making it in the kitchen and then bringing it out to you. Or we pick up for Ramadan a lot as well, where will they do a to go order, and each time it's hot, fresh, and delicious.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. I'm going to put that on my list. I haven't gone to either of those. So, yeah, shame on me, but I will definitely try it.
Really? Okay.
No, I've tried Jin Soy, which is this Indian, Pakistani, Chinese fusion restaurant that actually came over from Karachi, and they
Yes.
opened their location in the Richmond area near Harvest Green. And it was good. I don't think I'll go back, Nida. Like, it was all right.
Okay.
It was fine.
I'm
Yeah, it wasn't a game changer.
Well, I'm glad you said that because I went too, and it didn't do it for me. You know, I know
Yeah.
everyone's flavor palette is different. I did wait those 3 hours to go into it because I
Oh
was
my gosh.
like, yeah, no, I was committed. You know, I was like, I want to try this.
If you had waited just 30 minutes, would you have enjoyed it more?
No, no.
Okay. Okay. That's fair.
No. The
That's fair.
flavor just is not. So I'm from Lahore, Pakistan, and
Okay.
I love Pakistani Chinese food. So when I heard this opened up, I was like, I need to try it no matter what. I'm
Yeah.
gonna wait the 3 hours for it. And then we went in and we ate it, and it just I think the flavors are sort of monotone there. It's more of a spice slash salty flavor. Whereas
Yeah.
when I think of a Pakistani Chinese, there's a lot of flavors happening there. You have some sweet, some chili, you know, a little different flavors, but it was more so basic for me. And
It
so
was.
I wouldn't personally go back either. So I'm glad we're on the same page.
Okay. Your final recommendation, what is it?
Okay, my final recommendation is going to be the Peri Peri Factory located on Westheimer in Midwest Houston. Peri Peri Factory is just one of those things that I crave on a regular. They do some great peri peri chicken, which is
Yeah.
South African kind of a spice that they use. I get the mild flavor. You get a little bit of a tangy flavor from the chicken when you put the sauce on top, but you have to get the chicken with the garlic sauce on the side. They have little jars there on the counter. You just pour the garlic sauce on top and you get some rice with it. Just very delicious. I absolutely love going there, but that's going to be my last recommendation.
Oh, the peri peri chicken. As you mentioned, there are a lot of hot chicken places that
Yes.
are, big in the halal community right now. Peri peri chicken is outstanding. Like
Yeah,
it's basically hot chicken, but it's grilled. Okay.
exactly.
And the sauces are a little bit more smoky. They have more depth. Like it's a little different.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And then, I mean, their rice is amazing too.
I was going to say their sides are so
Uh-huh.
good.
Uh-huh.
You get a lot of different sides. I'm going to throw one final recommendation in here, and this is kind of cheating. Okay, so
Okay.
call me out if this is, but I'm just going to recommend the Boat Basin development, which is on Highway 6, just a little bit north of Sugarland. And this development is a gathering of, I think 10 or 15
Mm,
food trucks, and they're all halal. They are serving up really interesting cuisine.
yeah.
You've got birria tacos. You've got Crypto Burger,
Yes.
which is this really big burger that is juicy, saucy. You've got Mom's Kunafa, which is one of the best desserts you'll have, the Kunafa dessert.
Yeah.
They've got like a chai stand, which is just traditional tea, a lassi stand. That area is so much fun, Nida.
Yeah, no, I've been to there, and actually when I was looking at my top recommendations, I was like, well, do I add a food truck in there? Because I do love the steak spot. I mean, you're getting steak from a food truck and you're
Yeah.
like, what, are you sure about this? But the steak
Hmm.
spot, every time he makes the steak, they're done exactly like you like it. And his mashed potatoes are one of the creamiest, smoothest mashed potatoes I've had. But that spot is amazing because you could just walk around with your family or by yourself, and you pick what you want to eat, and then while your food is being made, go get a snack on the side, right? And then they
Yeah.
opened up a market.
Yeah,
It's
it
right in
is.
that plaza as well, so it's like a very convenient shopping space where they have little pop-up shops where you can just go ahead and buy a few things, so you're just eating and having a great time. And at night they do some lights, and so it's an amazing sort of atmosphere for iftar.
Yeah, it's so much fun. It really reminds you of being back home.
Yeah,
I grew up in Houston, but I was born in Karachi. And, every time I've gone back over there in Karachi, you don't eat dinner till 10 or 11. And
exactly.
everyone is just sitting around, hanging out, and Boat Basin just kind of reminds you of that. So it's so much fun. And it's a cool thing that Houstonians can experience and celebrate, different cultures. So I highly recommend that Boat Basin area. And then there's just so many great halal spots across the city. So if we didn't name one, like, don't get offended.
Yeah.
There's so many, and definitely start experiencing it. It's a blast. Hey, before I let you go, I want to reflect on what the month of Ramadan means to you. And specifically the traditions and the rituals, the daily fasting, meeting with the community. What does that all mean to you?
I think it's just for me, Ramadan means a gathering of the community. In the hustle and bustle of everyday life, sometimes we get lost, and that community feeling kind of disintegrates throughout the year. So it's a way for all of us to come together and just join in just a spiritual uplifting during the month of Ramadan. Oh, what I love about Ramadan is just going to pray Tarawih, which is a voluntary prayer that we do at night at the mosque if you want to, or at home. I personally like to go to the mosque, and we go and we pray there. And then after the prayer is done, we'll have a cup of chai. Most mosques offer that. We'll have a bit of a conversation, talk to each other, and just kind of build that community again, which we were lacking throughout the year. So it's more of a community building slash spiritual uplifting month for me.
And a lot of good eating as well, morning and at night. It is
Definitely.
great to be a Muslim in Houston, and it's great to be a Houstonian with one of the best halal food scenes out there.
and just throw in a last minute. Like you said, great offerings. Be on the lookout on some of the halal food pages. They do a lot of suhoor events in the town of Houston. I mean, y'all are going to think we're wild for eating at 12 a.m. to 4 a.m., but there are a lot of great suhoor pop-ups that you guys can keep an eye out for.
Yeah, a lot of people are blown away by the fact that, these pop-ups, these events are happening from 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. But explain that a little bit more, Nida, to people that don't understand this.
Yeah, so the suhoor pop-up, so suhoor, or in Pakistani terms, sehri, is the meal that you eat before you start the fast. And so most of the people will eat it right before the dawn prayer comes in the morning. But like the Muslim community and the community in Houston has just in the last 3 years started doing these pop-ups where they will have a bunch of different restaurants collaborate with each other and host a pop-up for eating. So the restaurant is open from 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. So, which isn't a conventional time for them to open. And in Sugarland, they have a lot of them. Last year, Muse Hookah partnered with Crypto Burger and
Yeah.
a bunch of other food trucks. They'll all park in that plaza and then serve people.
They are so much fun. And Nida, this conversation was a blast. Thank you so much for joining me.
Of course.
That was Nida Ashraf. You can find even more halal food recommendations and information on those pop-ups on her Instagram at Nida Eats Halal. Check out our show notes in your podcast player for that link, plus all the links to the restaurants we talked about today. And of course, if we missed any, please send us your favorite halal restaurants to us on Instagram at CityCast Houston. And if you enjoyed this episode, share it with 3 friends who are fasting during Ramadan and are looking for new halal restaurants to break their fast at, or share it with people who just love new hidden gems to try out in our restaurant scene. And for all my new listeners out there, thank you so much for giving us a try. I really hope you subscribe to the podcast so you can get daily episodes about what's happening in H-Town and our surrounding areas. We also have a daily newsletter called Hey Houston that's delivered in your inbox every morning with the latest news, things to do, and moments of joy across the city. That will do it for today. I'm Rahil Ramzanali. Thank you for listening, and I hope you learned something new.